In the meantime, in China, the authorities are taking a hard line against rioters in Xinjiang. Steve has been covering that ever since the explosive blow-up on Sunday and has the very latest. Stevie.
Yeah, Bernie, the Communist Party chief in Urumqi not mincing words last night in a press conference, vowing the harshest punishment for those responsible for the deaths in the rioting.
For those who brutally killed the other people in the riot, the government will execute them.
China's chief police officer, Meng Jianzhu, also vowing no leniency. More than 1,000 people have been arrested so far. The government did not impose a citywide curfew last night for the first time since the riot started. But paramilitary police officers with rifles, also water cannon, are set up on one of the main roads that divides Uyghur and Han neighborhoods, trying to keep the two sides apart. Our reporter is there. He says shops have opened up on the Han side of the city, but shops on the Uyghur side of the city remain closed this morning. The government also claims it has phone records implicating the exiled head of the World Uyghur Congress, Rabia Kadir, as the instigator of this unrest. She tells Bloomberg Television in an interview this morning out of Washington, D.C., that she had nothing to do with starting the riots and blames the Chinese government for heavy-handed policies in Xinjiang.
The autonomy conferred upon Shenzhen and Tibet is a bogus name only. They use it to persecute the Uyghur people. The Chinese government has never created the conditions needed for Chinese and Uyghurs to coexist peacefully. So we're seeking self-determination for Uyghur people now.
Beijing is very worried about any sort of ethnic unrest in Xinjiang. Xinjiang has been the site of separatist movements in the past in China. China is obviously very reluctant to give any ground to separatism in Xinjiang.
Still, there's been no word on whether President Hu Jintao will visit Xinjiang or whether he will even address the situation. Beijing officials, Bernie, have remained fairly quiet on the unrest, even as state media has covered the events extensively. Back over to you.
It's been the #1 story on all the broadsheets ever since Monday morning. Steve, appreciate that. Steve Engel on the Xinjiang beat there. Dr. Zoyner, in Singapore, I realize that the situations like Urumqi and Xinjiang are somewhat on the periphery of what is normally on your menu, but you can't have escaped it the last 3 or 4 days. Your thoughts on the way the situation is being handled?
Well, riots like this are always a human tragedy. From an investor's point of view or from a market point of view, these are unsettling events. They are bad for investors' confidence in China.